Now, this is a personal example, but it works both in the workplace and in personal, in your life as well. But every summer I had to go to Northern Ontario to my husband's cabin in the woods. It was a 5-hour drive from Toronto. He loved it. He'd spent every summer there. The kids loved it, the best bass fishing in the world. And I wasn't so comfortable with it. But I went because, it was my family vacation. The kids loved it. But let me tell you about the place. There was no running water. There was no electricity. How many of you need a hair blower? Okay. No hair blower for 7 days. And there was mosquitoes as big as your children. And I welt. How many of you welt from mosquitoes? Not good with mosquitoes. So I was pretty uncomfortable. And there's no refrigeration, so as you're packing the cooler, you're wondering what the hamburger meat's going to look like by Thursday. It's just, as soon as the ice melts, you're into canned milk and all that. So, but I suffered through it, and I went. And I went for years. But this one year we're driving up, and he looks at me and says, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, my mom's coming." Oh, some of you have that. Now, my mother-in-law is a great person. She, is really a wonderful person, but she does have one bad habit. She smokes. Now, how many of you have kind of an unwritten rule, or at least back then, where if they smoked in their domain, it was okay, but if they came to your house, they would smoke outside? Now, this cabin had been in the family for 3 generations, so where do you think the domain fell? Guess what kind of conflict ensued? Now, this is called third-party conflict. You want to be careful with this as well, because it's where you turn to the other person to fix them, when you should be having the conversation directly with them. But I said this, "Oh, you're going to tell your mom not to smoke in the cabin, right? Because I have asthma. If she smokes, I could die. Where am I going to get, more Ventolin inhaler?" Because this is on an island the size of a football field. It's a 45-minute boat ride from the marina. It's isolated. They love it. Oh, great, the loons go by and a coffee morning is good. But after that, I have to do all the cooking and cleaning, and they go fishing, and it's work. And okay, so I suffer. He says, "Oh, I'm not telling my mom not to smoke in the cabin. This has been in her family for 3 generations. So now I'm mad at how many people? 2 for sure. 2 for sure. All right. So we get up there, and he says, "Oh, she knows. She won't." So she doesn't. We get up there. She smokes outside all day long, except at 9 o'clock at night, and the sun's going down in Northern Ontario. Guess what happens? The mosquitoes come out, so we're forced inside. We play euchre. Anybody know what euchre is? Good old card game. Because, of course, there's only a Coleman lantern to play, and we have a pot of tea and play some cards, and everything's good. She's not smoking. And I'm getting kicked under the table going, she knows. So all's good. So the boys are going to retire to the little hut, and my daughter and I take the master bedroom. Let me tell you about the master bedroom, because my mother-in-law knows I'm uncomfortable, and they take the back porch, or her and her dog, and that I'm also allergic to. And she says, "You can have the master bedroom. The 2 roll-away beds open like this. The dust mites fly out." Okay, I bring my own sheets, pillow, blankets, sleeping, like nothing touches the skin, okay? And I have a flashlight because there's no electricity, and I turn the flashlight out. In minutes, my daughter's sleeping. I can't sleep. It's musty. I'm sure there's a bear outside. I haven't slept. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I hear something. I hear my mother-in-law and the dog click, click, click on the wood floor, sit at the kitchen table. And I can hear them playing, or her playing solitaire and clicking of the cards. What am I waiting for? The smoke. And then I hear it, the Bic lighter and the cigarette. Now, how many of you don't smoke, but if somebody smoked in the next room, you'd know in an instant? So I look down, grab my flashlight, and I see the smoke wafting in the door. I grab towels and face cloths and even underwear, and I'm stuffing the entire surrounding of this old wooden door of this cabin. And I get back in bed, and then the one mosquito follows me around. She's not going to sleep. She's still playing cards and lighting. And so around 5 o'clock in the morning, the sun is rising. I haven't slept yet. And there's also, like no hair blower, so I look like Nick Nolte on the day he got arrested. And I remember practicing in the mirror my best knock it off nicely technique, like, you're not I'm gonna die, and let me ask you this: am I right? She shouldn't smoke in front of me. Darn right, I'm right. And so I practice, and I'm ready. I'm ready with the knock it off nicely technique. Now, how many of you have, relationships that you've got to be careful with? And so I open the door, and she goes, "Oh, good morning." And she sees that I'm wheezing because of the asthma, and she says, "Is the dog bothering you?" Now, how many of you back out of conflict? You just back out. And I'm not saying this is the right way, but that's what I did. I went, "I think so." And she says, "Oh, in the morning, we'll get that carpet banged out, and we'll wash it down with some Javex. You'll be fine tomorrow." And I go, "Okay." Now, who do you think gets it in the morning? You wouldn't believe it. She's an insomniac. She smoked all night long. I have no Ventolin left. Where am I going to go? And how many of you can name the 22 carcinogens in secondhand smoke? So I'm yammering away. And he says, "Oh, she's better the next night." And, how many of you dance around critical conversations? So now we're both doing it, and the problem doesn't get solved. It's exhausting, am I correct? 5-6 days later, we're done the holiday. I'm the first one on the dock. Everything's packed. Let's go. I cannot get off the island fast enough. We get in the car. We're driving home, and I go, "Rah, rah, 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 yammer, 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 yammer. Oh, I'm in secondhand smoke. I'm not even doing anything. The smoke is..." And he looks at me and says, "Don't you teach this stuff?" I hate being called on it. And I went, and because there was some negative imprinting going on. When you look like Nick Nolte and you are yammering, you are building more negative imprinting. So he said, "Grab the piece of paper." So I grabbed a Wendy's napkin off the dashboard, and I wrote, "You, them." I had never considered what did they want. Do you think I could find a possible solution? The next book I'm writing is called The Velvet Hammer Negotiates, Arrays, and Everything Else She Wants in Life. And I'm going to have as the prologue to say, you can only get what you want if you can give the other person what they want. So what did she want? What did I want? No smoke, right? And it was as simple as that. When I see it on paper, it's like, oh my gosh, of course there's a conflict. And what you do is you draw a line as soon as you've identified. In fact, you cannot go anywhere until you figure out this with conflict, especially the big ones. What did you want? What did they want? And then you draw a line and you go, okay, what are some third ways? So